Jesus was crucified on the cross only after his 5 had died, his 5 senses. A wound in each hand and a wound in the ribs represents his 5 senses dying. When he dies, he becomes the Christ. But where was he crucified? In Golgotha. Golgotha means the place of the skull. It represents that which must happen within you too, for you to ascend and join Christ in the higher realms with God, just as he became the Christ. He was a man Jesus until he died, then he became the Christ. And when your 5 senses die, in meditation, in fasting, when you put aside your 5 senses, and with it your ego and your ego's relationship and control over your 5 senses, then you go and you raise your seed to your skull, to Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified. And when you get there, you too will be amplified in power, and you will be able to do God's will and God's work with much more ease and much more effort, because your mind is on what you're doing and it's not wandering. You're rewired. Your circuitry is as it should be. Your electrics are as it should be. But this is only rewarded to the disciplined. For the undisciplined do not get this reward. So for many of the undisciplined, it will make no sense to them. Hey guys, I have had a bizarre few weeks, as you all know, but Fritzy's sister and friends are here and her sister is leaving today, so they wanted to go on safari to the national parks, so we went with them, because when other people are there and they're hiring a big car and stuff like that, then obviously for a resident of Tanzania it's really cheap actually to go on safari. Like, it just costs about $10 to get into the park, which is amazing. I mean, compared to the thousands of dollars that tourists pay to go on safari. So I had 2 days off to recharge, and I'm feeling very, very recharged. And last week I made a video when I was feeling a bit glum about anticipating my seed. I was waiting for the moon to be in Aries so as I could have my recharge, my new sense of energy from that which I teach in my sacred secretion video, that you must return the seed and return it to your skull ultimately through the 33 vertebrae, the age Jesus was when he died. When you return it and it comes back into your hypothalamus, or it sits in the tomb for 2.5 days, then you become re-energized. Everything's easier to do. The more focused you are on something, the less thought you have on other things other than what you're doing, the easier it is to do. Like if you're an athlete and you're running, the days that you're running and you can't stop thinking about something, you won't run as well as the days you're just running and there's no other thought. Your body is functioning better because your mainframe, your processor, your brain is 100% with what needs to be done. And this is what happens when you return the seed. This is what you do for your body when you return the seed. Now what you do as well is you crucify the seed as well. Now, the word crucifixion has many meanings. The origin of the word crucifixion, and right now in the world, crucifixion predominantly means to be a form of execution, to be nailed to a cross. We all know this, and it's now used in a way where I can say I crucify my flesh. People understand what I mean. I'm not literally going to go and nail myself to a crucifix, to a cross. But to crucify my flesh might be to fast, or for me it might be to run long distance on an empty stomach. I crucify my flesh. It's a term of language. But the origins of the word crucifixion, before all of that, was to amplify in power. So, indeed, when Jesus was crucified, it cannot be argued that the will of God to have a man crucified for the man Yeshua. Now, the message from crucifixion was amplified in power. The message was amplified 1,000,000-fold, if not more. But the thing is, as well, as I always say, the stories of the Bible, the stories of Yeshua's life, God made them in such a way that they reflect different aspects of our own journey, and also of the journey of the one thing that we all, well, we need everything, but the sun in the sky, which is imperative to all life here. Without the sun in the sky doing its journey throughout the year, through the 12 constellations with the 12 disciples, without it passing through Aries and such, there are Jewish celebrations where you must offer the burnt offering, which is to kill a lamb, but it just means that the Aries is passing into the sun at that time. There is something else goes on as well, and that is the journey of your Christ seed. Now, the journey of your Christ seed is represented, that journey is represented by the River Jordan in the Bible, but I'll do videos about this another time because it's a very complicated subject for people to understand. And I'm leading towards this now. I put a video on the other day from an amazing book called God, Man, the Word Made Flesh, an excerpt from that book. And people already said it's too confusing, and I said, well, in my head I said, well, you're not ready for it. It's as simple as that. You must be mature in your spiritual practice. You can't flick a switch and expect it to be given to you. You must practice, you must be vigilant, and you must be patient, and you must be consistent in your practice. You must be willing to fast. There's no shortcut to this. You cannot read some information and magically switch the button and become more peaceful and more enlightened and more attuned with the wisdom of your own consciousness. It takes work. But what I want to show everyone is that the importance of the science and the process of caring for your sacred secretion, your Christos, your colostrum, your chrism, your seed, as I will always refer to it as the seed. And if you return the seed to you, then what will happen is the seed will be crucified inside your skull. Now, the seed can be crucified inside your skull predominantly when you manage to let go of your five senses, just as with Jesus Christ. Jesus was crucified on the cross. Hold on, bear with me one moment. Sorry guys, I was passing through a police checkpoint. Jesus was crucified on the cross only after his five had died, his five senses. A wound in each hand and a wound in the ribs represents his five senses dying. When he dies, he becomes the Christ. But where was he crucified? In Golgotha. Golgotha means the place of the skull. It represents that which must happen within you too, for you to ascend and join Christ in the higher realms with God, just as he became the Christ. He was a man Jesus until he died, then he became the Christ. And when your five senses die in meditation, in fasting, when you put aside your five senses and with it your ego and your ego's relationship and control over your five senses, then you go and you raise your seed to your skull, to Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified. And when you get there, you too will be amplified in power, and you will be able to do God's will and God's work with much more ease and much more effort, because your mind is on what you're doing and it's not wandering. You're rewired. Your circuitry is as it should be. Your electrics are as it should be. But this is only rewarded to the disciplined. For the undisciplined do not get this reward. So for many of the undisciplined, it will make no sense to them. So I took some time out whilst the moon was in Aries, and I can tell you now, I returned to my seed, and I am at present very present with myself. So we must all sacrifice our own flesh. We must all crucify ourselves, but at the same time, we must crucify our flesh, and as the five senses must die, just as Jesus was wounded 5 times. And you raise up to the next level of consciousness, which is water, as the water comes from Jesus' ribs. And when that happens, then your seed will ascend, and your seed can be crucified in another level of the allegory and of the true story as well of this man's life, as it is written by God to be on many levels, astrological, internal and physical. And when you do that, then your seed can be returned to your skull, to Golgotha, and you too can crucify the seed within you. So you can crucify in the original sense, amplify in power. But to do that in the more modern sense, you must crucify your flesh. You must sacrifice your 5 senses. So you too can ascend and become like Christ. Okay, much love, guys.